You are Locked On Pistons POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Detroit, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, here we go. The Detroit Pistons are going back to the postseason. For the first time since 2019, they clinch at least a 6 seed or better with the 117-105 win over the Toronto Raptors. Welcome into a live Locked On Pistons postcast. I am your host, Jake Rietman. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Rietman. And this is the Locked On Pistons post-game show, free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on YouTube as well. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team each and every day. We're going to talk about the Pistons going back to the postseason. And hey, the Pistons got the win tonight, but it was not easy. It was a game of runs. The Raptors, despite playing all kinds of backups and not necessarily regular starters, found a way to hang in there. So we'll hang in there. We'll talk about that. And Tim Hardaway Jr., Jalen Duren were both fantastic. Malik Beasley added to it, all that and more. Of course, I'll have my turning point and player of the game as well. So buckle up, dial it in. It's time for a Locked On Pistons postcast. And don't forget your favorite podcast, the Locked On Pistons podcast, now as a daily newsletter. Check it out at lockedondaily.com and do us a favor, sign up for free. Shout out to everybody on Locked On Pistons that are joining the post-game show. We appreciate that. And hey, it's April in the D, so maybe you're here from Locked On Tigers, Locked On Pistons, Locked On Red Wings, whatever it may be. We're happy you're here because this is your post-game destination for all things Detroit on Locked On Sports Detroit. Make sure you subscribe. All right, let's get into it because the Pistons were on the road in Toronto against a Raptors team that was severely shorthanded, and the Pistons stumbled out of the gate a little bit in this one. Every time you looked up, it's like, wait a second, this team should be up by more. And after one quarter of play, it was 29-28. But here's what I wrote down a couple of times. The Pistons had these surges that would go a long way in creating some distance, but give the Raptors a lot of credit. Every time the Pistons surged ahead, the Raptors would do enough to stay in it. And after the Pistons ended the third quarter in style with the Tim Hardaway Jr. long gun, it was a 11-0 run to end the third. It was, an 8-0 run to end the third. They had an 11-0 run in that third quarter as well, but give the Raptors credit. A 14-4 run to begin the fourth quarter, got it down to 4 points midway through that fourth quarter when Malik Beasley had one of the more impressive drives to the hole and finishes. And at the time, Greg Kessler said that was a massive basket, and I happen to agree with him. So let's go ahead and make that our talking point of tonight's game.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Because I admit, I was looking at this game as not necessarily it's the National Basketball Association and everybody makes a run and you can't count a team out. But I think we can all agree with ourselves that the Pistons entered this game with the significant advantage on paper and severely outmatching a team like the Toronto Raptors that have nothing to play for. But the way that this game continued to prolong, the Raptors would not go away. And so when they got it down to 4, the crowd's into it. Malik Beasley stepped up and made that basket. That was huge. And Dennis Schroder played really well down the stretch to help preserve this victory. So the fact that the Pistons, on another night where they're shorthanded too, no Cade, obviously no Tobias, no Isaiah Stewart suspended. That's worth noting. They still found a way to get it done. And it was the starters with a balanced scoring attack. I mentioned in the open, all 5 starters in double figures. That's something you love to see. Ausar Thompson played well with 15 points, 6 of 12 from the floor, played well defensively as well. Give Tim Hardaway Jr. a lot of credit. He had the hot hand, 23 points. I mentioned that 3-pointer to end the third quarter, but overall from the floor, he was very efficient. And I think it's Jalen Duren's, I find myself saying this a lot about Jalen Duren, which is a testament to him continuing to elevate his level of play. But he was just so solid for the Detroit Pistons tonight. 23 points, and go ahead and give him 6 assists as well. 18 rebounds. 21, 6 assists, and 18 rebounds. That is just a whale of a game. And I thought his post-game comments were interesting as well when he was talking with Natalie Kerwin there. She does such a great job on the post-game interview. He's just talking about how, yes, the Pistons clinched tonight, but this is what they worked for, and they worked so hard for this, and the job's not done. And it was, the question might have been, how do you put this, or did you ever imagine being here? And the answer is yes. The Pistons envisioned getting to this point because this is when Trajan Langdon took over and JB Bickerstaff, the idea of implementing this type of culture, this type of hard-nosed, gritty team that could get back to the postseason, make some noise. That was always the goal. It just happens to be happening faster than we could have ever anticipated, which is just outstanding news in every sense of the word. Now, want to get into your comments as well. And hey, if you've been with us today, it's been a whale of a day for the city of Detroit. How about it? Yeah, we had the Tigers get the win earlier today on the home opener. Shout out to everybody that tuned into a Locked On Tigers post-game show. We had Jack Flaherty going 5 2/3, getting the win. You had 2 home runs from Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green with the home run. The Red Wings get a win today. How about that? They beat a very good Carolina Hurricanes team, and I know the playoffs are still very, very mathematically speaking, the chances are very, very slim, but hey, the Red Wings get a big win at home. They honored John Keating. Really neat to see that as well. It's been a day to remember for the city of Detroit, and this is a great way to put the exclamation point and the cherry on top in that one. So let's take some of your comments if you stayed up late, and although it's not as late as it's been, this week's been crazy, right? We had the Tigers on the West Coast. We had the Pistons against Oklahoma City. That was a later game because of the ESPN start, but let's get into those comments. Demetrius McNeil, the loyal follower for us. There will be postseason basketball at Little Caesars Arena. That's awesome. Yeah. And we knew the Pistons team was in, in some capacity, but to not have to play a play-in game, that's huge. And you really love to see that. Duren looking at a big pay raise. Yes, Jalen Duren looking, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that. When you read something and you just know it's wrong, that's what I just did. My apologies. Jalen Duren looking at a big pay raise. Absolutely. Because he has solidified himself as a premier frontline player. And at the beginning of the season, I said it time and time again, he struggled to guard big guys on the perimeter that could shoot. And it seems like he's improved that component of his game. And you can also add to his game the ability to find scores. The 6 assists tonight speak to that. And obviously he's going to dominate the glass with 18 boards and 21 points, efficient as well. So shout out and props to Jalen Duren for sure. IT Hip says this team deserves so much praise, and I don't think they'll be an easy out in the playoffs by any means. I completely agree. I would not, if I'm anyone in the Eastern Conference, I would not want to play the Detroit Pistons. Right now it's the New York Knicks, and I know it's the regular season, but you can still take that as a sample size. In the regular season, the Pistons beat the New York Knicks 2 out of the 3 games. So there's certainly something to be said about the matchup capabilities against the New York Knicks and what that would look like. I know they're going to be getting Jalen Brunson back soon here, and obviously a formidable opponent, but hey, let's go. Buckle it up, roll the sleeves up, put the boxing gloves on, and let's go to work. I have to say that metaphorically with this team, though, so I got to be careful. Not actually, although that's a pretty safe bet that there will be some kind of, at some point in the postseason, some kind of blow up that will result in what this team does. But hey, that's neither here nor there. We'll deal with that when it comes, because Isaiah Stewart's going to be back soon. After this next game, that was the 2-game suspension. So he's back. Cade Cunningham should be back. You hope Tobias Harris is okay and he'll be back. So this team will continue to get healthier and healthier and stronger, which is what it's all about. So, hey, no time to really enjoy this though, or you could phrase it this way: the Pistons get right back at it tomorrow night, a little second night of the back-to-back. The Pistons will be back at the Little Caesars Arena to take on the Memphis Grizzlies. Join us for that. We'll have a post-game show tomorrow night as well. Don't go anywhere, though. We'll have our turning point, our player of the game, and talk a little bit more about the Detroit Pistons clinching a spot in the NBA postseason next on a live Locked On Pistons postcast. This episode of the Locked On Pistons Postcast is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Daylight savings might have snuck up on us again. And if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, well, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun. Get out there. But sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, maybe you're staying up late watching Tiger baseball this week because they were out west all week, and the Pistons played a late game. Whether you're trying to get in that extra round of golf after work, I know that's me, or you're just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. And listen, if you're on the go all the time like I am, one of the great things about 5 Hour Energy is how convenient it is on the go. Whether you're at a game, maybe you're traveling, you're going from show to show, whatever it may be, just pop a 5 Hour Energy. It's easy to grab and keeps you feeling refreshed. Head over to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. And if you need one, grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. So stock up and stay energized. This episode of the Locked On Pistons Postcast is also brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Hey, how about this for first-time customers? The NCAA tournament is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. $200 to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and everything in between. Who's cutting down the nets the Monday night? We got Final Four games on Saturday, so there you go. I had Duke to win it all from the beginning, so hoping that they can come through. Not that I'm a Duke fan, but you get the idea. You play the hits, you're picking the bets to win. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Visit FanDuel.com, get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. All right, the Detroit Pistons going back to the postseason for the first time since 2019, and we know what happened then. They were swept by the Milwaukee Bucks. Blake Griffin playing on one leg, and by the end of the series, basically had nothing left. And so this time around, we have hoping it'll be much, much different and a little bit higher expectations for what the Detroit Pistons might be able to do and the noise that they might be able to make in this postseason. But back to the game against the Toronto Raptors this evening. I mentioned the games of runs. That is the best way to describe this one because there were some runs in the second quarter. Pistons had a 9-2 run. They had an 11-0 run in the third quarter. The Raptors had a big run in the third quarter, and the Raptors started the fourth quarter on a 10-4 run. So just a lot of it's kind of a roller coaster. And when you look and break it down further, the Raptors never went away, but the Pistons were the better team tonight. 27 assists for the Pistons. They were efficient in that category. When they struggled, it was the defense from the Toronto Raptors forcing the Pistons out of their game a little bit. But when you break it down, you got the Pistons shooting 46% from the floor, 35% from the three-point line at 12 of 34. Now, that being said, this is you're kind of holding this team together by Band-Aid and dental floss without Cade Cunningham, without Tobias Harris. And so the way the Pistons have been able to salvage that, I mean, heck, even go back to, because it was just a brief 2-game losing streak before that, the win over the Cleveland Cavaliers. So even in the midst of this time of Cade being out, you've been really impressed with what the Pistons have been able to do. And even the other night, what was that, Wednesday night against Oklahoma City, obviously they're the best team in the West, and winning that game would have certainly been an uphill battle and a long shot, but to put forth the performance they did was encouraging, and then you take it the next step in getting the win tonight and ultimately clinching that postseason spot. All right, without further ado, it's time for our turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
I'll say the turning point tonight was Malik Beasley's basket when it was a 4-point game That made it 6, and the Pistons never looked back after that. The Raptors never got it within as close as they did when Malik Beasley drove to the bucket to put the Pistons back up 6. But just that turning point of being able to weather the storm, and even though it got close, the Pistons did, I think, a nice job of preserving the lead and extending the lead down the stretch to where they could put it in cruise control in the latter portion of the fourth quarter. Let's go with our player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I want to go with both Tim Hardaway Jr. and Jalen Duren tonight because Tim Hardaway Jr. led the way with 23 points. You needed his offense with Cade out of the lineup, with Tobias Harris out of the lineup, combined with the excellent performance from Jalen Duren. I mean, 21 points to go along with 18 rebounds. You add 6 assists to that. This is a guy that was just impacting the game in so many different ways. So those will be my 2 player of the games for the Detroit Pistons here on the Locked On Pistons postcast. Want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. It's been a long day, a little doubleheader action, but that's April in the D. You absolutely got to love it. And hey, how about all the participation on the comments, the likes, the sharing? All that is so appreciated. And you know what? I wish I could do more than just extend my sincere gratitude, but that's what we've got. Working on some giveaways here from Locked On. We'll see how that goes. But point being, hey, Locked On Tigers in the books today. Locked On Pistons postcast in the books today. Tomorrow, we've got a doubleheader as well. Locked On Tigers and Locked On Pistons postcast. And it's a busy time. April in the D. There's nothing like it. I want to also mention this on Locked On Tigers today. I'll mention it here. Any MLB fans out there, I'll be hosting the Locked On MLB Game Night show on Mondays through Wednesdays. If you want to check that out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, Locked On MLB Game Night will be a total show covering every game in Major League Baseball. Looking forward to that as well, and doing more and more with Locked On Sports, your team each and every day. Make sure you sign up for the Locked On Pistons newsletter at lockedondaily.com. And let's keep this going. The Detroit Pistons are going back to the postseason for the first time since 2019. And oh, by the way, they'll be a 6 seed or better. Have a wonderful night, everyone. We'll see you next time on Locked On Sports Detroit.